We're not just the music, we are variety. Plastic pollution is a problem all over the world. Companies, individuals are thinking of ways to reduce the need for plastics. And here in the Sultanate, we have a young Omani entrepreneur joining the show. Our guest is the chairman of Sainbags. You might have heard Sainbags. You might have used it or seen it. Okay, these bags look like plastic, but they are not at all. He is also the founder of the Enchanted Garden, Max International, and he is a chairman of 8 companies. We have an Omani entrepreneur and a venture capitalist, Husain Mohammed Baomar. Welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us.
You're most welcome, and thanks for having me here. I would like to thank Oman FM and the entire team for inviting me for this radio interview. Which is actually my first time to attend, and I'm happy it is being conducted at the national radio.
It's a great pleasure to have you with us. We're excited to know you more. But before we talk about the innovative products that you have, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why are you called venture capitalist?
Yeah, okay. First of all, I'll introduce my name is Husain Baomar. I'm a venture capitalist with several investment in the country and in the international market. As you know, I'm the chairman of Sainbags and at the same time leading around 8 companies in total. Mm-hmm. So coming back to your question, to elaborate more about venture capitalist, well, basically, I do venture into new business. Mm-hmm. So what we do is we try to look for new ideas, especially when it comes to innovation. So I tend to venture into that activities and assess the outlook of the business possibility in the future.
Okay. So how did you get started as an entrepreneur?
Well, first of all, I grew up in a family business, and I've been involved since I was very young. And I think I did gain my experience throughout my childhood.
Okay.
By helping my parents' business. So I've experienced the most difficult part in business and also the pleasure of achieving our goals.
Okay.
So my father has been my role model since I was a kid, and I was always proud of his achievement. And I promised myself one day I want to be a successful entrepreneur, not only in Oman, but globally. Mm-hmm. So that has been in my thoughts since I was young. And alhamdulillah, today I can proudly say that I have 8 companies under the umbrella of Husain Baomar group of companies. It's very diverse, and we are into different activities, from natural products to manufacturing and e-commerce business and the construction building materials. And the way we look at it, or the way we do business, is not only in Oman. Okay, we focus around the GCC market and the international market.
Great. How did you come up with the idea of these bags? Can you tell us what is a Saint bag?
Okay, let me tell you more about Sainbags at the start.
Sure, yes.
Sainbag, okay, it's called Sainbag. It's because of the last 4 letters in my name, Husain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is S-A-I-N. Yeah. Sainbag is very unique, and it's actually 100% biodegradable bag. And it carries a lot of feature. It's not only biodegradable, it is biodegradable, it is compostable and recyclable. Mm-hmm. Okay, and it's chemical free, it's organic. It looks like a plastic, but it's not. Therefore, there's a message on the plastic, and it says, "I'm not a plastic."
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we want the public to be aware that there is an alternative solution to plastic bags, especially when it comes to single-use plastic. And yeah, the main advantage of this bag, it can dissolve in water. So if you have a warm water, you can just put the bag and you will see it completely dissolve. It's made from cassava starch.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's what I want to ask. From where?
Yeah. It's made from cassava starch, and it's pure, like it's purely cassava starch. There is no chemical involved in the bag, so it's very safe. Even if animals consume it accidentally, they'll be it's harmless. Basically, it's harmless to the environment, it's harmless to the ocean, and even to with the animals. And the other thing, if you throw the bag like in your backyard, the bag will actually disappear in 180 days, because you have the microorganism and other insects. They actually eat the bag because it is food. It's made from cassava, so they actually consume it as a plant or any other fruits outside there. Yeah.
So it's not causing any harm to the environment.
No, it's not causing any harm.
So what is the inspiration behind this?
The inspiration, I grew up in a farm. I've spent most of my time around our farm, and I feel that I'm really connected to the environment, or I do connect with the environment, and I feel relaxed. Since I was a kid, I've been doing a lot of experiment actually in the farm. Yeah, a crazy experiment that you wouldn't even imagine.
How early was that? Because you're still even young now, so...
Yeah, I'm 32.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was maybe
32 and having
20 years ago.
This 8 companies.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I grew up being an environmentalist, and I tend to avoid plastic from the first place, and from the personal level, I try to educate my friends and family how can the plastic harm our environment. After a period of time, I thought, okay, what is the best solution to replace plastic? So I started personally using paper bags, but then after further research, I came to know that paper bag is also a sustainability issue, because you need to cut down trees in order to come up with paper.
Yeah, right.
So cutting down trees is also one of the major issues, especially when it comes to the climate change and global warming. And so I said, we need to look for an alternative solution that can support the society and the environment, whereby we come up with a single-use bag. So after that, I've been, as you know, that one of my company is called The Enchanted Garden. It started in 2014, and the objective or the plan of the company was to be the major distributor of plants and flowers in the region. And in order to do that, I flew to Kenya, and I had to lease Rose Farm in Kenya, and I flew to Indonesia in order to acquire a bamboo farm. Yeah, in order to fulfill the business needs. So since then, I started building actually a very strong trade relationship with Indonesia, and I've been visiting them more often. Then I did further research over there, and I've met students from the college, and they are doing several research in plastic pollution and what could be the alternative solution. So basically it was a focus group, but then we need someone to actually venture into it. It's a long-term research and studies that we have to do. And
how long did it take?
It took us around 4 years, actually. It took us 4 years until we came up with the final product. So from there, I was like, okay, let's do it, and let's start executing the project.
Is Sainbag the first product you produced?
Yeah, it is. It is the first product.
And of course, I think aside from this Sainbags, you do have other innovative or sustainable products and eco-friendly products as well.
Yeah. We have, aside from the bags, we also manufacture actually the bamboo cutleries and bamboo straws. And we're actually launching several new products in the coming period, which will be a surprise to the public, because our aim is not only bags, but to replace single-use to eco-friendly products. So in the coming period, we'll be launching something new. And our mission is not to stop with Sainbags, not stopping with the bags and that's it. The aim is to have further research and development in order to develop new product that will actually benefit our environment.
Wonderful mission, and not to put an end to make solutions to our environment. And this products, specifically, what is the aim of this?
The aim of the product is Actually, we're trying to create awareness that are likely to reduce the amount of environmental damage that plastic can cause. And we are trying to maintain a balance between the economic growth and the welfare of society in Oman and across the globe. And I feel this is a small step to save the earth. And moving forward, inshallah, with additional product from Sainbags and other investors and entrepreneurs, we can make a change together to the environment.
Right. And how significant it is to have or use these products? How will it be affecting our environment? Or how will it save the planet?
It's time to give back to our environment by reducing plastic waste. As this will help reduce land and water pollution. As you know, landfills plays a major role in the destruction of our environment.
Oh, wonderful. It's time to give back to our environment. We're going to have a short break and we'll be back with our guest and we'll talk about entrepreneurship. This is Oman FM, the nation station.
We love the earth. New music selected by us, just for you.
Back with us on Oman FM with our guest, the chairman of Sainbags. We have Husain Baomar. So now let's talk about entrepreneurship. So for you, what is the first thing an entrepreneur should consider?
Well, I think based on my experience, because I've been coaching young entrepreneur and startups in Oman, and I'm really impressed that they really have a lot of ideas, but there is a fear of execution. Yeah. So being a successful entrepreneur is taking actions, taking risk, okay, and implementation. So execution is the major element to be a successful entrepreneur. And you really need to take a risk. I'm not saying that you have to venture any risk. Now, each individual has to really assess the risk factor that they can fall into, and based on the results of their risk appetite, then they have to decide whether they should go forward or not, or maybe they should do it the other way around. So my advice with the young entrepreneurs or startup in Oman is take your ideas into action. Yeah, and never hesitate to take risk, because risk is actually equal to success.
So from your journey along the way, have you encountered risk or challenges, while building the companies?
Yeah, well, actually, I think between the 8 companies that have owned Sainbag is the biggest, it's one of the biggest challenges that I've faced, because it's a diverse product, and the acceptance in some countries, they don't really think of the environment. They just want to continue whatever they're doing and start polluting the environment. So I've been receiving rejections more than success when we started initially. But I've tried to change the image, and by creating more awareness, by creating more awareness of the bags, because since it's a new product, so even adding, like, when it comes to the formalities and documentation, there was no, let's say, a business code that related to this product, so everything has to be initiated from the start. And the main challenge is the comparison between Sainbags and a plastic bag, because it looks like a plastic, so they do compare it with plastic, especially when it comes to the cost. But I don't think they should compare it with plastic. They should compare it or benchmark it with eco-friendly bags, because it's an eco bag.
The Sainbags is not only targeting the Oman, but it's globally.
It's globally. We're around the GCC currently, and we started building factories in Bangladesh. Bangladesh will soon start manufacturing Sainbags in the country, and we're in discussion few GCC country to establish the factory.
Okay.
But now the bags are being distributed to those countries, even to Europe and Panama, and we're still exploring within other countries. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing that everybody should be aware of using Sainbag, eco-friendly material, to really combat climate change and not to use plastic bags, as it may harm our planet. And how did you finance your business, and how have your finances changed as you have grown your business?
Well, when it comes to the business finance, it's I think one of the major struggle with the young entrepreneur or startup these days. But what I always say is you need to have some savings where you can start something small. Unfortunately, sometimes I did encounter several entrepreneurs where they want to start big, and that's the biggest mistake. So it's more of the savings that I have got and starting small with my first company, and then developing your business, and you need to assign an investment fund in your budget. So that has to be the investment fund exercise has to be done like every year, and continue growing your business. So in overall, when I have reached like in total of 8 companies at the moment, the current practice is when we are doing our budget exercise during the year end. I always allocate investment budget, depending on the company performance, and based on that I get into new venture. So the fund in the business has to rotate in order for it to grow, and especially when it comes to the expansion plan for the future, where you have other type of entrepreneur where they just want to have a shop and continue a shop forever. But then you need to define where you want to be. You need to create a roadmap, and you need to have your objective, where you want to be in the future, and based on that you can plan your finances. Some people think that running several companies and you've been lucky enough to enjoy the benefit out of it, but for me at the moment that's not the case. So what I'm looking for is actually to grow globally. So in order for me to grow globally, so I need to have more investment fund, and I need to venture into new business in Oman and in the globe. So therefore rotating or investing your fund is very important in order to be a successful entrepreneur.
Right. And, looking back at the early beginnings, at the early days, you were starting as an entrepreneur, and up to the present, what has been the greatest success in the field of entrepreneurship?
Well, establishing group of companies with global presence as Omani company, rather than Omani company depending on international imports. So it always makes me proud of my country when a foreign country say, this is an Omani company manufacture this product, or an Omani company supply this product, So in addition to that, I've encountered several people are using my product and services, and that actually makes me feel happy, and it gives me motivation to do more.
What do you think is the biggest opportunity you can consider working in the field of entrepreneurship and doing this initiative, taking care of the environment?
The biggest opportunity I've encountered is, I got several invitations from the international authorities, whereby I visited the United Nations Environment and presented the bag, and the National Geographic called me for a meeting, and we had a plan in order to come up with a full documentary on how this project started, until the end user. So I feel it's like part of the achievement.
Wonderful to know. What advice would you give to other entrepreneurs and inventors developing products?
Well, I think it's time to give back to our environment. As you know, global warming is one of the major issues these days. My advice for the startup, they should innovate by introducing eco-friendly products to the market. And for the existing organization and investor, they need to ensure that their organization strategy and objective are in line with the environment. And as they need to create more awareness to the public by conducting corporate social responsibility. I've read an article a few weeks back, and it says that if the organization strategy or objective is not in line with the environment, then the company can vanish in the future.
Okay.
Because the environment pollution is the major issue, these days, and you get a lot of people who are, against companies who are not complying with the environmental protection.
Okay, and what are the things we can look forward to? Are you coming up with new innovative products and eco-friendly products?
We're coming up with new products that will be launched before end of this year, and again, it's eco-friendly product, and it will replace single-use plastic.
Okay, wonderful. We're going to wait for that. So where can we find this?
Basically, you can visit our online store, which is Sainbags.com, and you can even visit our office in Ghala at Al Raya Towers. And the way we work is focusing into B2B, but we would like to allow the public to get these bags. So the bags are available online in our e-store, actually.
And I think this is so important, just in closing, coming from you as an entrepreneur and also an environmentalist, why is it important to use eco-friendly materials? How will it save the planet? How can we contribute as an individual to stop climate change?
Well, I think it's our role all of us in the country and globally are responsible to raise awareness towards the plastic pollution.
Okay.
And how can it harm our environment? Because what I've noticed, there is a lot of people who is really not aware on how bad it can impact our environment. I feel we need to create more awareness in the public, especially in the social media, because the new generations are into social media. I think every individual is responsible to raise awareness to their surroundings, and I think that will really help the environment.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for sharing this beautiful conversation, and we wish all the very best to you, to Sainbags, and to your companies.
You're most welcome, and thanks for having me here in the studio.
It's a great pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
The Nation Station. Oman FM.